What is going on, everybody? Crazy Dog back with my second of 3 videos of the day. So yeah, I got one more coming up after this one. And of course, in that video, I'll be talking about the Guardians because our friend Jeff Passan dropped another trade target video. And of course, the Guardians were featured in it. But before I get to that one, you already know what I'm talking about in this video. Oh yeah, when it comes to the Cavs, there's 2 things to talk about. The draft, which starts tomorrow, because the Cavs do have 2 draft picks, although they're in the second round, but, you know, they still could make 2 draft picks, add 2 new players to the organization, and, 2 players that could potentially have an impact. You never know, right? But of course, I got to address the big thing that came out recently, as of course Kevin Durant was recently traded by the Suns to the Rockets, and immediately after that happened, we saw a tweet come out from NBA Central on Twitter. Yeah. That said, and I quote, "The Denver Nuggets and Cleveland Cavaliers were considered wild cards for Kevin Durant." Okay. I had heard that the Cavs were kind of lurking, but did we really think the Cavs were going to trade for Kevin Durant? No. If you seriously thought the Cavs were going to trade for Kevin Durant and his $54 million expiring contract, you stupid. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but the Cavs are kind of extremely limited in terms of cap space right now. I know I talked about the Blue Jackets in my last video, right? And where they are in terms of their cap situation, whereas they're so deep, they're so far down, they're under the cap floor. They need to spend money to be cap compliant. They have $40 million in cap space. We already know they're going to be aggressive. But that's the NHL, right? The Cavs are all the way at the very top in terms of cap space. They're banging their head on the ceiling, right? The Blue Jackets are so freaking low down there. They're under the floor. Really. The Cavs are banging their head on the ceiling. According to Salary Swish, the Cavs are over the luxury tax by $22 million. They will be over the first apron by $14 million, and they'll even be over the second apron by $5 million. In fact, they're not even banging their head on the ceiling. Their head went through the ceiling. Yeah. And if they do not make any moves to get under the second apron by next week, July 1st, I believe at 6 p.m. is when free agency begins, the shackles will be put on, and there will be severe limitations to what the Cavs can do in terms of trades. They do not have a biannual exception. They do not have a mid-level exception, but they do have a trade exception from Georges Niang, $8.5 million. They could use that if they really wanted to. And of course, they have 2 draft picks. And speaking of those 2 draft picks, let's talk about who they could potentially get in the second round on Thursday. As Chris Fedor put 7 potential, players to watch for the Cavs. Elijah Martin, Ryan Nembhard. Yes, there's another Nembhard coming up. Kobe Brea. That would be funny. Kobe drafts Kobe. That'd be funny. Amari Williams, Cam Jones, Brooks Barnhizer, and Tyrese Proctor. The only players that I'm aware of that I've actually heard of: Elijah Martin, Ryan Nembhard, Kobe Brea, and Tyrese Proctor. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I don't really know what to say. I mean, they're second round potential prospects. Like, I'm not gonna dig into these guys. See what happens though. Just some interesting names to watch. But you thought I forgot, didn't you? Yeah. Just one other thing I gotta talk about before I wrap up this video in regards to the Kevin Durant situation with the Cavs. So as you guys already saw, the Cavs were labeled as a dark horse. Well then, yesterday, this tweet came out. And yes, it's real. From ESPN Cleveland on Twitter. And I quote, "The Cavs' offer for Kevin Durant included Darius Garland, per at Kevin O'Connor NBA." Then they ask, would you have done that trade? Me? No. You? Maybe. Let me know in the comments. Would you have done this trade? Now, someone actually mentioned on Twitter too that if the Cavs were serious about getting Kevin Durant, they would have already dumped off the contracts of Isaac Okoro and or Dean Wade to open up more space. So it's pretty clear they weren't really serious. I think they were more likely to be a third team in that trade, which of course there was no third team in the trade. It was just the Rockets and the Suns, surprisingly enough. But I don't think I would have done this trade. I mean, you look at KD's contract, $54 million for this upcoming season, and he wants an extension, and he's like 37 years old. He would not fit the timeline. Now, don't get me wrong, adding KD would make the Cavs an immediate title threat, title contender, where we get KD, I think we're winning it all next year with Donovan and them. Yeah. But I didn't expect it. Not to mention, in case you guys didn't know, Dan Gilbert and Matt Ishbia, of course, the owners of the Suns and the Cavs, respectively, they don't like each other. It's generational beef between those two. So yeah, there was no way this was going to happen. At least the Cavs are looking around, though. We know the Cavs are serious about making moves. So we'll see what they do. So with that being said, guys, that's all I got for this video. I have one more video coming out a little bit later talking about some more potential Guardians trade targets because, of course, I love this time of year because you get a lot of these articles talking about potential trade targets as the deadline is just over a month away. So I'll have a video out for that. And yeah, we'll see what happens. So Cavs, Guardians, and Blue Jackets are all going to be pretty active, I feel like. So we'll see what happens. So with that being said, I'm Crazy Dog. Let's go Cavs. I'll see you guys later. I'm out. Bye-bye. Yeah. There was no way we were doing that KD for DG trade. Hell no. Not at all. Bye-bye.